Today we will see a Chinese fantasy movie that came out in the year 2019 named Ni Jia. If you enjoy the video, hit that like button and slash the subscribe button. Thank you. The spiritual energy of heaven and earth gave birth to the Chaos Pearl. The Supreme Lord sent a fat god, Taizhen, who thinks he could be a model, and his brother, Shingongbao, to contain the chaos before it spread. But they can't control the power of the pearl. While they're getting a proper whooping by the pearl, the Supreme Lord casts a spell and sends it down from the heavens and contained the chaos. The Supreme Lord divided the Chaos Pearl into two parts, the Spirit Pearl and the Demon Pill. The Demon Pill is dangerous and nearly indestructible. To avoid the chaos, the Supreme Lord casts a heaven-made curse, a lightning bolt that will seek out and destroy it in 3 years. The Spirit Pearl will be reincarnated into Li Jing's third-born son, but until that day he assigned the fat Taizhen to watch it over. If he successfully reincarnated the pearl, he will join the 11 golden immortals that sit beside the Supreme Lord. We see clearly that Shingongbao is jealous and furious. The Supreme Lord told Tai to name the boy Ni Jia. Li Jing's wife is about to give birth to his third child and they goes to the castle to pray. While Li Jing is praying, Taizhen burst into the room through the roof. He introduced himself. When the day comes, the wife is in deep agony in the labor room. While everybody is waiting to hear the good news, Shin is planning to steal the Spirit Pearl. To help him do that, he throws out a slave rune that will enslave anyone that touches it. Tai is preparing to open the lotus, but a servant comes offering a drink to him. Tai drinks the alcohol and passed out. The servant tried to take the lotus away, but he found out a spell was casted up on it. Only Tai can open the lotus. When Li comes to check on the lotus, he found out Tai is passed out. He have to wake him up or his wife will die, so he punched him sober. Li begged him to open the lotus, but Tai forgot the password. He used all the 4 trials and only 1 left. If he put in the wrong password, the lotus will lock itself and they have to try again after 10 years. And he remembered that he can open it by his hand print. The servant tricked Tai and tried to steal the Spirit Pearl, but Li caught him red-handed. Tai found out the slave rune has attached itself to the servant. That's why he tried to steal it. Another servant, that got controlled by the slave rune, took both pearls and reincarnates the demon pearl into the new baby. The nurses delivered the baby, but it's like an egg. All the villagers got confused, but when they try to look closer, 2 eyes appeared and a ball type of creature starts jumping and turns himself into a fireball and terrorizes the villagers. Tai caught him by the hair and the kid tried to bite him, so Tai throws him to the ground. Slowly, the egg-shaped kid transforms into a full-sized human baby with a flame all over his body and starts throwing fireballs into the houses and people. Tai summoned a magic hoop and orders it to control the baby. And the hoop got itself around the neck of the baby and the baby loses his anger and calms down. Tai insists to kill the baby because he knew what will happen if the baby tried to do something bad. And he also told them that after 3 years, the Supreme Lord will strike him down with a lightning bolt. But Li said he will take every responsibility that the baby will cause and he assured the villagers that the baby will never step a foot in the village. And Li said he will ask the Supreme Lord himself to call off the strike. Meanwhile, Shin goes to the deepest part of the ocean to meet with the Dragon King. Turns out, Shin is working for him. Shin gave the Spirit Pearl to the Dragon King. The Dragon King spits out an egg, his offspring, so that the egg and the Spirit Pearl fused together and created a human-like child named Ao Bing. Li and Tai went to the Gate of Heaven and meets with Chang Shengyun, who's in charge of the gate. Chang told them the curse is unbreakable and the child will be struck down at the end of the 3rd year. Fast forward a couple years later, Najat is bored that he can't leave the castle and no one can play with him. So his mother and few soldiers joined him to make him feel good. He destroyed all of them, but other soldiers comes to her and told her that she have to lead them to the war. So she leaves him and Najat got mad and bored again. The whole castle is covered by a magic shield to avoid Najat leaving his home. He tricked the guards of the shield and escaped to the village. The villagers saw him and they hide away from him. He terrorizes the whole village. The so-called demon hunter gang/kids want to fight him and stop the bullying he caused on the village. They planned everything to get rid of him for good and Najat crashed all of their plans just by showing up to the party. The leader of the gang, the oldest kid, called him a demon. That made Najat mad, and he kicked a rock at them. But they got saved by Tai. His father grounded him in his room. Tai promised Li and Lady Li that he will shape Najat to become the best version of himself. In the morning, Najat tricked the guards again and leave his room. But when he reaches the gate, he saw a painting floating in the middle of the field. He tried to touch it but got sucked inside by the painting. When he wakes up, Tai welcomed him to the world inside the painting. Tai showed him that he can manipulate everything as he wish. He gave him a tour of the world. Tai showed Najat how to change one object into another using a disguising spell. While Najat is trying to change a rock, Tai takes a nap. Lady Li comes to see Ne Zha and asks him where he is, but he couldn't tell her where he is. They found him floating in the river. Turns out Ne Zha mastered the disguise spell and turns himself into his mother to prank him. Ne Zha found a spear inside Tai's pants and found out his parents wants to lock him up in the painting world, and got mad. His mother told him the truth. Fast forward 2 years later, he mastered everything that Tai taught him. Meanwhile in the village, a water demon is stealing animals and eats them. Ne Zha finds him and kicks its ass. The demon tried to escape, but Ne Zha goes toe-to-toe with him. The monster finds a little girl and took her as a hostage and tried to escape into the ocean. But a man with a white cloth froze the ocean and saved the little girl. Ne Zha fought the man, thinking that he is a demon. Finally they get along well and played together. Turns out the man with the white cloth was Ao Bing, the son of the Dragon King. Ao Bing gives him a shell and told him when he wants to play, blow the shell and he will come. The villagers comes together and said Ne Zha kidnapped the little girl. He said he didn't. Once again the brat kid called him a demon. He got mad and starts fighting everybody. He defeated them easily. Tai finally arrived and saved everyone. The village elder decided that Ne Zha needs to be punished. Tai tied Ne Zha before he make more damages. Meanwhile in the deep, Ao Bing told his father that he met a new best friend. Shin told him that the kid has a demon pearl and Ao Bing have to destroy him. Li and Lady Li visits Ne Zha and told him his third birthday is in 10 days, and the villagers wants to celebrate with him. Excited, Ne Zha prepares a map for his new friend and called him, and told him to be there in 10 days. On that day the Dragon King and every other dragon gives their hardest scale for protection to Ao Bing. While Ne Zha is preparing for the ceremony, Shin revealed to him and told him about everything. He came out angry. Tai gave him the spear and the flying pig as a birthday present, but the pig turns into a flaming chariots. But whatever they do to please him, he is still mad at them for not telling him about the demon pill. He removed the hoop around his neck by reciting the spell, and suddenly he got very tall and demonic. All the villagers run away from the ceremony festival, and everybody starts fighting with Ne Zha. Ne Zha tied his father in the air and throws the spear at him. At that time, Ao Bing came down and saved him. The two pills starts fighting, Ao Bing using his freezing power and Ne Zha using his fire power. Ao Bing gives the hoop to Tai to put it on Ne Zha, and he did controlled him using the hoop. After he changed into the small Ne Zha, he escaped from the city. Shin told Ao Bing to destroy the village to free his people. Ao Bing, using his power, summoned a water above the city and froze it to crash it down on the village. While Ne Zha is crying in the forest, the pig revealed and showed him that his father traded his life for Ne Zha. Then he came flying to the village to save his parents. Then found out Ao Bing is trying to destroy the city and Shen was behind all of this. Shin and Tai are fighting each other. Tai pulled out his painting and they all got sucked into the painting world. Ne Zha using the disguise spell turns himself into Shin and tricked Ao Bing. They fought an epic fight. They jumped out of the painting world and Ne Zha breaks the hoop from his neck to lift the iceberg that is falling down on the village. After he melted the ice he came for Ao Bing and told him that he thought he was his friend. After all this chaos, it's time for the lightning to strike Ne Zha. While he is levitating before the lightning, Ao Bing tried to save him by shielding him from the lightning. While trying to survive the lightning strike, both of them lost their bodies, but Tai saved their souls using the lotus. The villagers saw how Ne Zha saved them and they accepts him as their hero.